Blue-green algae and Lake Okeechobee. We're talking about it with you tonight. We've seen the impacts on local businesses, wildlife, and some of you are saying it's even affecting your health. Our partners at Hello Southwest Florida taking an in-depth look at the history of Lake Okeechobee, the algae, and all the problems our communities are facing now.
This story gets a little complicated, and it involves going beneath the surface.
We've been down this road so many times.
We cannot continue for the next 2 decades to go on business as usual.
This problem wasn't created overnight, and it's not going to be solved overnight.
We all contribute.
It's every single one of us. If you live in Florida, you're part of the problem.
Algae blooms and Lake Okeechobee.
There's a lot of finger pointing in all directions at where the problems come from.
People have blamed this toxic water on big sugar companies, dairy farm runoff coming down Kissimmee River from the north, natural storm runoff, even fertilizers get some of the blame. Well, wherever it comes from, it all ends up right here in Lake Okeechobee, the liquid heart of South Florida.
So, how did the second largest natural freshwater lake in the U.S. become the scapegoat for an environmental disaster? Back in the 1920s, 2 hurricanes swept through this area, killing thousands of people. After that, the state created a district in coordination with the U.S. Army Corps to build a dike around the lake.
Now, to this day, the U.S. Army Corps manages those water levels, making sure they don't pass a certain point. Now, they do this by pushing the water down a series of rivers and locks on the west and east side, just like the one behind me.
But those water releases send water filled with nitrogen and phosphorus, 2 of the main ingredients in this algae, down the Caloosahatchee River and into the Gulf. Mix that with other water environments and you get, well, a mess that can look like this. And this.
Backpumping from sugar factories to the south became less of a problem after regulations were set in the early 2000s.
Some people claim the nutrient pollution is mainly coming from the north, land filled with dairy farms and fertilized pastures. In 2000, the Lake Okeechobee Protection Plan was put in place. Part of that plan said only 40 micrograms per liter of phosphorus was considered okay. What was the lake at in 2017? More than 3 times the limit, 150 micrograms per liter.
Now, to put that in perspective, this is just over a liter of soda. Now, 40 micrograms, that's less than 1% of this tablespoon.
This year, a combination of stirred up soil from Hurricane Irma, warm temperatures, and an abnormally rainy month of May led to a really bad series of algal blooms. The water levels in the lake already fluctuate fast during storms, only adding to the excessive nutrient loading problem. Algal blooms were also a big issue back in 2016 with the El Nino storm season. Florida's Governor Rick Scott issued a state of emergency under 2 different presidencies, most recently in July.
It's frustrating. I think it's frustrating to all of us.
Environmentalists say the algae has already caused permanent damage.
We have to change the way we think of the infrastructure that supports our natural environment.
Businesses and fishers are concerned the tainted water and how it's portrayed could hurt their income.
Guacamole, toxic algae.
And residents nearby are concerned about their health.
I have skin rashes, it's difficult to breathe here, my eyes are watery, they're itchy.
So how did this become such a mess? What's being done? How do we fix it? Hopefully we can give you the facts and you decide. This is the story of Lake O,
The liquid heart of Florida.
told by the people who know it best.
Now, we're going to have part 2 of this series tomorrow night right here on Fox 4 News at 6, and that's going to go more in depth into the algae itself and how it actually grows, what feeds it. You can catch this full series on Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Fox 4, and of course, always post what you think on our social media pages. In the meantime,